Hi, this is Farmer Carrie, and the other day someone said, do plants grow in the winter? And that's such a great question because, well, they don't really grow that much if they're vegetables because it's so cold. They don't have enough heat to grow. And then if you're a shrub or a tree, oh my goodness, all your leaves fall off. So is a plant doing any growing in the winter? Well, guess what? Of course, plants, they grow up from the ground, but what's below ground? Yeah, those roots. And do you know how important those roots are? Without roots, the plant wouldn't get any nutrients, wouldn't be able to get any water. And so plants know in order to support spring growth, all those leaves coming out, they need to grow really good root systems in the winter. So when you ask the questions, do plants grow in the winter? What's the answer? Yes, they grow roots in the winter. There are certain kinds of plants that do really, really, really well if they are planted in the fall so that they can establish themselves and grow a really good root system to support the spring growth. One of them is native plants. We have here a wonderful native plant hedge that is good for birds and also pollinators. We're going to expand it. We got all these plants and we're going to make our native hedge even bigger so we can have more birds and more pollinators come to the farm. Let's take a look at this. This is a hazelnut tree, actually, a little one. And looking at it, it's like, well, it doesn't look like anything's there, does it? All the leaves have fallen off, nothing's happening. But what did I tell you? In the ground, in the soil, the roots are going to grow. So when we plant this, it's going to grow roots to support the leaves. And you can see on all these different kinds of shrubs where the leaves are going to come out. There's little buds on the stem, and they all look different. In fact, one little sport that people who love plants do is they love to do winter identification, looking at the color of the stem and the texture and the different kinds of buds. And you can identify plants in the winter even though they don't have leaves. We're going to share more with you when we plant our native border because we have so many different plants it's fun to share all about. But now I want to show you what it looks like in the ground and in plants. So let's go to something special that you plant in the fall. Bulbs. We were weeding this area the other day and look what we discovered. Can you see what that is? These are, we don't want to dig them up, these are bulbs from last year. Looks like a daffodil, maybe a tulip, or they're both tulips. So those bulbs are under the ground. Now, here's a bed that we're getting ready to plant native bulbs in, and you may have these at home. These aren't native, these are tulips, but look at that thing. Does that look alive? Not really. Look at that. Uh-oh, it's starting to grow. Now, when you plant tulips or other bulbs in the ground, look what happens. All these roots start to grow. You can actually see that at home with paper whites. You can get paper whites and you can put them in pea gravel in a clear glass and you can watch this process in your house in growing paper whites. But see, this is actually a camas that we accidentally dug up, and look at all those roots are growing in the winter. And then you see the shoots coming up? They're going to be the camas in the spring. So you've got camas. Here's another camas. It's going to go right back in here. And we have, these are daffodils that you can plant at your home, daffodils. And let's see, this is another really fun one that you probably don't have. What is this funny looking thing? This actually is a bleeding heart. It's a native plant, it's a pollinator, and we're going to plant it here at the farm. And see all these roots? Well, we have to plant this in the winter so that the roots will grow, and then we'll have bleeding heart in the spring. Now, just want to say that sometimes they sell these in the spring, and it's okay. If you plant your native plants in the spring bare root, that's just fine. But here at the farm, we like to do it in the winter to give them the maximum amount of growth that they like to do during the wintertime. So here's our little tulip bulb. It's starting to sprout, but it has no roots. So we better plant it so it can grow roots this winter and grow to be a beautiful tulip plant. One rule of thumb for planting bulbs is you want to go twice as deep as the bulb is high. So we're going to dig a hole that's twice as deep. Now we can put some fertilizer in there if we want, but we know this is good soil. There's our little bulb, and we just cover it up. We're going to show where it is so kids don't plant in the same place. And just imagine now that little bulb is in the ground, it's moist, it's cool, all the signs for the bulb to start to grow roots. It's going to grow those roots just like you saw, and then what's going to pop up in the spring? A tulip stem and then a tulip flower. We'll track this flower, okay? All right, have fun growing your plants in the winter. Bye.